Some people with autism like certain colours or textures. This is a sensory thing, and people with autism can find great joy or comfort in stroking soft, fluffy things or any other texture, colour, or other sense. When making this video, I didn't realise I had bipolar and that I was in mania. In mania, your senses can be amplified. Some people with autism find this really overwhelming, but personally, all the colours and textures I love are amplified and bring me even more joy, love, and comfort. With mania, you can feel even more joy. This video is about single-celled organisms called amoebas. Amoebas are like little squishy blobs that are more complex and more than bacteria and more related to animals and plants than they are to bacteria. I love squishy things with my autism, and this is amplified by mania, so I hope you enjoy. Slither sucker from the future is wild. Slime molds are like single-celled amoebas, except the single cells can come together to form a much larger organism in real life. Slime molds are real on our current Earth, but a fictional program explored how they might evolve in the future, becoming larger and more intelligent. The slime mold's descendants are called slither suckers. Slither suckers are pure sensory heaven. They're slimy and gooey. You could just melt into them and be absorbed by them as you sink into them like a delicious chocolate fondant. They're bright, exuberant orange like gooey magma, thick and viscous that is glowing and glossy and in wavy layers. They're squidgy and stretchy. You could mold them with the satisfaction of putting a knife through butter. I love amoeba-like organisms, and I wish I could hug a giant amoeba and show it my affection. I'd love the intelligent slither sucker because it could be intelligent like a dog. It could love you back. It could be like a pet. Oh, and did I mention amoebas can be translucent? Planet Darwin 4. In Wayne Barlow's book Expedition, there is a planet with a whole sea that is one gelatinous organism called the amoebic sea. I wish the laws of physics would allow the gigantic amoeba to stand up so we could see the majesty and magnitude of their size. They'd be like a celestial Galactus from Marvel, towering over the planet in all their glory. I'd love to get down on my knees and worship my amoeba overlord. The amoebic sea is a purple hue that is both regal and cosmic. I'd like to spread the amoeba baby on toast like jam. It would be so satisfying. The amoeba jam is translucent with light shimmering through it. It would be like those ASMR videos where they spread miniature planets on bread. I love the texture of the jam amoeba, and I love the bold, intense red that its translucency invigorates as it brings out darker hues, oranger hues, and pure red. A creamy amoeba made of chicken tikka masala sauce sits atop the curry. I want to eat the amoeba up and feel the thick texture of the shifting tomato masala sauce. My mom's face is red like my favourite curry, chicken tikka masala. Mom's clothes are fluffy like the fluffy vegetable pilau rice. Red is a very bold and intense colour and has been my favourite colour, but I really like pink in a special different way as well. And pink, my mom's face is bright pink. I'd love to feel an amoeba made of pink, fluffy cotton slime. I'd love to run my hands through the amoeba and manipulate it. I feel shame and embarrassment because in society, adults are not supposed to have fluffy, cuddly toys or play with slime. I feel like I've regressed or lost touch with reality. But people with autism have different sensory needs, and it's a sensory thing. I feel loving and caring towards amoebas, as well as feeling connected with the amoebas through personifying them. I'm intellectually interested in them, and I feel joy and comfort from imagining feeling them, or actually feeling similar squidgy things like sensory toys or my mom. The amoeba made of pink fluffy cotton slime says, hee hee, that tickles. I want to be absorbed by the amoeba and become one with them. I like very hot things like sitting on radiators and making my baths very hot. I'd love a volcano with an amoeba on top made of hot viscous magma. I'd love to wade through the amoeba magma like a hot jelly bath. Me and the amoeba could just melt into each other as a lovely scorching sensation engulfs me as half my body turns red, like when I'm in the bath. I'd leave pebbles or cuddly toys on the radiator, but I'd worry the heat would damage them. Maybe the lava would kill me too and take me to sensory heaven, or maybe it would take me to burning hot sensory hell. Either way, as long as I'm hot, I'm happy. I am filled with awe at the scale of the giant volcano amoeba. All the amoeba people live in a place called sensory heaven. But what about sensory hell? In sensory hell, the amoebas are made of egg white with their little egg yolk babies in their tummy. They're gelatinous and gooey and runny. But I can't stand eggs! When I was younger, I couldn't be in the same room as eggs because of the smell. And if someone had eggs, the window had to be open for when I returned to the room. I couldn't stand the feel of waterproof trousers or jeans when I was younger, so the amoebas in sensory hell are wearing waterproof trousers and jeans. When I was younger, on a walking trip, I refused to put on my waterproof trousers, even though I didn't like the feel of getting wet in rain either. You may think sensory hell would have burning hot volcanoes, but no, sensory hell is freezing with no gloves, and I am very sensitive to the cold. The only volcanoes in sensory hell are the sort of volcanoes you get on real freezing cold places in the solar system. These real volcanoes are called cryovolcanoes, meaning they are made of ice and erupt molten ice, which is called water. The water may be mixed with other liquids like ammonia into a big slush puppy amoeba. Ordinarily, slush would seem like a nice sludgy texture to eat or play with, but the ammonia in the slush may not feel or taste pleasant. When I was little, I couldn't eat ice cream because it was too cold, and although I liked playing with snow, eventually I began to feel far too cold. Part of Pluto is reddish-brown, and in the solar system things can be reddish-brown because of an organic material called tholins. Tholins can be like a muddy sludge that's not biological. I'd love an amoeba made of this oozy gunk. I could create tholin angels in it as if it was snow. Pluto contains cryovolcanoes that erupt molten ice and contains mud like tholins. Pluto is very cold, and the tholins may have turned hard like a frozen football pitch. The molten ice in the cryovolcanoes may be more like slush than water. I don't play in mud on Earth because tiny creatures could live in mud and I might harm them and cause them suffering if I dig or disturb mud, or I could become contaminated with a disease. There may be no complex life on Pluto, and so my body heat could warm the tholins up into an ice gloop that I could immerse myself in guilt-free. Although now I've just thought maybe my body would contaminate Pluto with microbes from Earth, so that would be a bad thing. On Saturn's moon Titan there is liquid methane. It's so surreal. It's a liquid like water we're all familiar with, but it's not water. It's a different liquid. It's so Earth-like yet otherworldly at the same time. I'd love to immerse myself in liquid methane, like being in a liquid methane amoeba. The liquid would be eerily thin, like passing through a ghost. You could drift freely as you coast aimlessly, without anything slowing you down. It's like when you come out of depression and doing things no longer feels like you're wading through thick syrup, making every act harder. It would feel so light and free as the brisk cold washes over you with low enough energy that it doesn't push you around or control you or make you get lost in the current. Foggy gas evaporates from the liquid, like letting out a relaxing sigh of relief as your foggy breath becomes visible because of the freezing cold.